This is Karl Palachuk, and you're listening to the SMB Community Podcast, produced by and for the Small Biz Thoughts community. We're dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. This podcast is brought to you by CryptoStopper. As you see all too frequently, ransomware continues to bypass antivirus and malware protection, and backups only help you clean up the mess. That is, if they aren't wiped out during the attack. CryptoStopper is specifically designed to add a layer of protection beyond antivirus and anti-malware by detecting and stopping actively running ransomware on a network in less than 1 second. It uses bait files to detect and stop ransomware and runs parallel to and as part of your current security stack. Add CryptoStopper as protection to an unavoidable threat, differentiating your service offering and allowing you to secure your customers and their trust. For more information or to get a 4-month free trial, visit getcryptostopper.com/MSP radio. Welcome to another SMB Community Podcast. This is Karl Palachuk, and my guest today is Mr. Nigel Moore from the Tech Tribe. Welcome, sir.
G'day. How are you?
G'day. So it's tomorrow. I hope tomorrow turns out to be a good day for me.
It is. If you'd like to know the Bitcoin price, I can sell it to you.
Oh yeah, let me know what the Bitcoin price is. So I will give you a brief introduction, and then I'll let you give a longer introduction. I met Nigel. I just found out because of somebody posted on Facebook 9 years ago. So it's quite amazing in Miami, and the world was very, very different back then. And I think neither one of us had much gray hair. So.
No, but we did have we did drink like fishes back then.
Yes. So Nigel has been a managed service provider and sold that company and started up. Decided, hey, I want a community. And has decided to start up the Tech Tribe a couple years ago to help community members grow and survive, and in many ways prepare for what they're now going through.
Yeah, and you're right. So I had a love of the community, even just first meeting you back in 2009. It was 2010, whatever it was. It was somewhere around then. Yeah, I think it was 2010, and I developed this crazy love of the community. It shocked me at first that there's this community of businesses that share their secrets with each other. It just blew my mind initially. And I'm like, whoa, I got to get involved in this thing and hear all these secrets. And eventually it got to the point where I was comfortable sharing as well. And I started giving back a whole lot more than what I was taking, which in the initial stages, I was taking a lot. But I loved that giving back component and teaching and coaching and helping other people avoid all the stupid stuff that I had done over the years. And that eventually led into what's now our Tech Tribe and our community, where I teach and coach and mentor and train and equip MSPs around the world to avoid the stuff that I got wrong and do some of the stuff that I've learned from you and other people around the place as well.
It's funny. I have a slide that I show sometimes where I've got a jar and it's labeled secret sauce. And I always tell people, secret sauce, it comes in a clear glass jar with the ingredients clearly labeled, right? There is right. No secret sauce,
Yep.
It's the only secret is execution.
Yes.
Right? Because if somebody told you, oh, you should have good cash reserves in case the economy goes down, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, let me write this down.
Yeah. It's like common sense, right? And there's nothing unusual about common sense. It's just common sense. It's the execution is the hard part that most of us struggle with. And because it's from the execution, we can, even you and I as coaches, I'm sure you see this as well, is that we can tell people something until we're black and blue in the face. But until they experience the mistake personally themselves, they don't learn the lesson. And that's true for all of us, is that,
right.
that quite often we've got to go and experience something ourselves to learn the lesson. And so that's one of the things I try and encourage most of my people to do as much as possible, is just get out there and execute. I can give you the ways the things to look out for as you're executing, but get out there and execute, because that's how you're going to learn the best lessons you can.
Well, and I think part of it is that we all start out using so-called common sense, right? And so somebody says, hey, can you get me this computer? Sure. All right. And then you get it, and then you send them an invoice, and you've just suddenly stepped into not being paid in advance.
Yeah.
And you didn't really make a
Yeah. Yeah.
decision. You just did it. And
Yeah.
I think so many of us start out that way.
Yeah.
We don't invoice in a timely manner. We don't get paid in advance. We do what makes sense on the day.
Yeah.
And we do it again and again and again. And pretty soon it's a habit. And
then until it doesn't make sense, and then you get in trouble.
Exactly. Until somebody can't pay their bills.
Yeah.
So,
and
right.
that's the thing with that one that I was going to say was that most of us in the tech space, we come from a deep core value of wanting to serve others. We don't come from a place of wanting to build a business first. We typically come from that place of we love helping other people.
Right.
And so we make all those decisions without thinking about the business ramifications of them first. And that takes time over years to then go, okay, we've done all this. We've helped all these people. We've done no cash upfront deals or whatever it is. And now we've learned all the lessons from them. And then now we know what to do properly next time around.
Yep. So I want to talk about your new book. So your latest and greatest book is Survive and Thrive, which is kind of a beautiful two-prong approach to getting through the next, at least the next year.
Yeah, exactly. I think.
So tell us about that. Where'd that come from?
So when this whole COVID situation immediately started, kind of manifested and started popping out in the marketplace, I started jumping on tons of calls, and I was on panels with different vendors and whatnot, and we were having worlds of different conversations around how we would approach this thing, what MSPs should be looking out for, what things they can do right now to give themselves the best chance of getting through, and what opportunities they should be looking out for on the other side that are coming out of this thing. And I was having all of these conversations, and I thought, how can I get all of this in one spot out to the world? And I just started writing, and I thought it would be maybe a 10, 12 page kind of thing that would, I'd just go and send out to a few of my tribe members or whatnot. And 5 days later, it turned into a 22,000 word, 88 page book. And I went, well, now it's there. I've kind of got most of the stuff out of my head now, and it turned into a book. And so the whole goal is, the first part of the book is just a whole pile of tactics and ideas and thoughts that you should be thinking about to give yourself the best chance of getting through this immediate part of the issue. Then the second part of the book is based around the silver linings that are out there for MSPs, that there is quite a few of them, of opportunities that you can look out for, because there is going to be a new normal on the other side of this thing. And there's going to be some things that are changed for the worse for us. And there's going to be some things that are changing for the better for us. And for MSPs, I see, where, as horrible as the entire situation is, I don't want to take away from that. I see the MSP space is actually benefiting a lot from this in the next 12 to 18 months, in that it's made people see IT as a serious contender and a serious part of their business, which a lot of people didn't up until now. Even as much as we wanted them to, they're still valuing IT as a cost center rather than an investment center in their business. So
I don't know about Australia. So we have a term that we've been using here called an essential business.
Yes.
Right? That certain businesses can stay open because they're essential. And we have discovered IT consulting is an essential business. Right? And the funny thing is, it's not like we had to sell clients on it, right? Yeah. As soon as clients were sent home, they turned to their IT consultants and were like, you got to help me get set up. How do I do this? I don't know how to do video calling and all that. It's, we've been hearing about it. Some of us have been doing it for 20 years, but our clients haven't. And they don't have a reason to do it. Why would they?
Yeah, correct. And that's what I have heard. So there's the fear that comes through all of us when something like this happens is, are my clients going to need me? Am I going to reduce my business? Am I going to lose clients over this thing? And the underlying theme that I'm seeing everywhere at the moment is end users are coming to their MSPs after this initial hump of transitioning to remote from home and saying, holy crap, you guys just saved our business. Like we bow down to you as gods now that exactly. They're looking at. And I'm hearing that from many different angles, and already tons of our clients are closing deals now around new things that clients knew they should have been putting in place ages ago, but just never did.
And you can literally look ahead and see the stages we're going to go through, right?
Yeah.
First they went home, and now they come back and say, yeah, but I'm using an 8-year-old computer that used to be on my desk at work, and now it's just not doing the job for video conferencing. And so there's that, but then you can also see this is the perfect time to do true consulting.
Yes.
Like if the client has to downsize their staff, How do you make sure they're using the right equipment, that they move things around and give the people who stay the best equipment? How do they plan for downsizing and plan for when the economy improves? They need us for every piece of that.
Yeah, and that is such a valuable, if I can speak properly, part of the conversation right now is that people, any business in most industries now are looking for cost efficiencies. And there is so many cost efficiencies that can be born from technical solutions. And so instead of going out there and worrying about the technical support and the working from home, which has all been done and dusted and it's gonna still be there, now is the time to start looking out there for ways you can dive into your existing clients and understand their business a little bit more so that you can say, hey, did you know you've already using this tool as part of Office 365? You've got access to this stuff or part of whatever tool suite you've got, but we can now help you get set up on it to use it properly. And that might get rid of 2 or 3 staff for you that you don't need to pay. Or you can, instead of having to fire those staff, maybe you can put them into a different part of the business, maybe a growth side of the business or something. And
Right.
there's going to be so much opportunity for that now where people are just going to take those conversations seriously. How can you make me more efficient or more profitable or more innovative or whatever it might be?
And the best part is, at this point, it doesn't have to be a sales conversation. You can literally say, you've got that big screen TV in your conference room. We can make that a Zoom conference tool for you for essentially nothing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Just bring your camera back into the office when you're done with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, and there's a lot of stuff like that where you can have a business level conversation, a strategy conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost them anything today, and they literally will turn to you and bow down once again, as you say.
Exactly right.
Like, this is great stuff.
Exactly. There's a very advanced tactic that I've seen a few people using this, where it's based around value-based pricing. And you go into a client, any of your clients, and you look and understand their business. And this requires talking to them about their business. And you might spot an opportunity where you know that you can completely change that department around in their business by instituting some new technology or just better using their current technology. And you say to them, look, we know we're going to be able to get a 20, 30, 40% cost saving for you here by getting rid of this manual process or automating all of these processes here for you. We're not going to charge you upfront for it. We want an upside of the efficiency that we're saving. So we might go 50-50 with you in the efficiencies that we're saving in there. So if you can get rid of a staff member or 2, that's going to save you 150 grand a year. We'll do that for 75 grand for that project. And the first year you make 75 grand, and every other year after that, you're making another 150 grand to your bottom line. And it's an advanced tactic to get in there and be able to do that, because you've got to know that you can deliver those efficiencies, and you're going to have quantifiable data to be able to do it. But in this day and age where people are a little bit more tight on their purse strings, it's so much easier to have a conversation where you're going to say, hey, we're not charging you up front for this thing, but we're going to make you save at least 75 grand or whatever a year in your business out of it.
Right. Well, and if you're one of the handful of advisors that they turn to when they're, like, again, small businesses, it's a tough decision to get rid of an employee. But if they're trying to figure out whether or not that makes sense for them, and you help them make that decision, you literally elevate yourself to becoming a business advisor.
Correct. You get that seat at the table then, which is where the value is.
Here's a question. Do you think as a result of this that the clients will be a little more interested in having technology conversations instead of saying, oh yeah, blah, blah, TCP, whatever, I don't understand anything you're talking to me about?
Well, yes and no. I don't think they're going to be any more interested in technology conversations. They're going to be interested in business outcome conversations aided by technology. And that's a big distinction that most MSPs have to start working on, is that they have to lead business conversations with their clients, and they have to get more comfortable with having business conversations with their clients, knowing that they're going to come in with a technology solution to back that business conversation up. And so my encouragement is, still, even more so after this happens, steer clear of having the TCP/IP conversations and all of that stuff, and talk about business outcomes. Talk and deeply about business outcomes, where they're at, what they can do, where their inefficiencies are, where their pain points are. And then, and only then, do you say, oh, well, we can solve that with technology, but let's do it from a business perspective first. Because not only is that what the clients want, but it's also super valuable. That's not the $100 an hour work. That's far more valuable than that.
Well, and if your clients have ever come to you and say, one of the things I like about you is that you explain this to us in a way that it doesn't sound like technical jargon, and you don't talk down to us. If your clients have said that to you, they are ready for you to step up on the business side.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that takes time. In my journey, it was a long journey to be able to be comfortable having business level conversations. Because when I first started in business, I was a one-man band running from my dining room table, 50 grand in debt. And I was a small guy, and I was having these conversations with people that are running 50 million and $100 million businesses, that we had some of them as our clients. And I didn't feel like I was able to have conversations with those guys about anything other than tech, because I didn't feel the confidence in it. And that was something that I had to just intentionally work on over time, is to open up my thinking and my skill set myself around business level stuff, so that I could have those deeper conversations with clients. And the more I did it, the better I got at it. And it took years for me. I'm a slow learner sometimes, and it took me some years to get that confidence. But that would be another encouragement to people out there, is do whatever you can to continually progress your business knowledge and confidence, to be able to have better, deeper conversations with your clients. Because the further you work up that value chain, the more value you're going to deliver to your clients, and the more you can charge.
Well, and unfortunately, it is experiences like what we're going through in the next 6 months that give you the experience you need to have confidence. Like, hey, trust me.
This is true. This is true.
So we kind of slipped into the thriving piece of this. Let me go back to the surviving piece. Your book is excellent, by the way, in terms of being flat out honest. There's some tough stuff you got to look at. And if you're not doing these things right, now is the day, right?
Yeah.
You've been putting off making wise decisions about your business. Today is the day. What would you say are the toughest pieces of advice that folks need to hear?
Two of the biggest ones I'm seeing at the moment is, number one, because we've had, like an 11-year bull market we've been in, where times have been good, money's been flowing, people are paying. A lot of us have made decisions that aren't great in terms of our team. And so I've seen a lot of MSPs where they've got 2 or 3 stragglers on the team that, instead of performance managing properly and probably getting rid of out of their business, they've just kept them on because they haven't necessarily needed to get rid of them, because times have been good and money's been flowing. And so one of the big ones I'm seeing at the moment is people having to make that decision to get rid of some staff that haven't been performing up until now, that should have been got rid of 6, 12, 18, 24 months ago, but because times have been good, they've just let it go. And so that's a big one I'm seeing. It's unfortunate for the people that need to move on, but unfortunately it's business, and whatever the climate, whether it's caused by something like this or anything else, it's still a necessary part of business to move along people that aren't in there. Right. But the other one is it's just accounts receivable. I see so many MSPs, because we're that mindset of coming from technology, and we just want to help people and whatever first. We don't fit our own oxygen mask, and our own oxygen mask is cash flow. And we quite often, for years, I let my clients just treat me like a bank, and it nearly sent me out of business twice. And I learned that lesson very well. And so one of the things I'm deeply encouraging all the people that I'm working with is, you've got to get your accounts receivable not only under control and get it back in place, but you've got to become the squeaky wheel. And then you've also got to make sure that you, from now onwards, if you don't already, you have to have a repeatable and consistent and automated process for managing accounts receivable in there. Not only to chase up things, but to also chase up overdue invoices and whatnot. You should have all of that automated. And you should have some human element, as in calling people and whatnot at certain intervals inside that process. And it should be consistent. That's the biggest thing. It should be consistent. But you should also be tracking the trends in your accounts receivable right now, the average debtor days and the accounts receivable balance and those types of things, so that you can spot trends before they become issues and make decisions. And if you've got average debtor days bouncing out like crazy, you need to start making some decisions on what.
And there's no way to avoid that. If you've got a process in place where people pay in arrears, that's got to be one of the things that you fix. I hadn't thought about it before, but there are probably people who have been in business 10 years and have never had a client not pay them.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I've been in business.
I haven't learned the lesson yet.
Yeah, I've been in business 25 years. Trust me, I've had clients not pay me. But, if you've never had that experience, then letting everybody pay whenever they get around to it is fine. But my heart goes out to the people who are owed $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 from their quote unquote best clients. Yeah. And they don't want to have that conversation. And you have to have that conversation, because in general, the thing I learned in the first economic downturn of my business, which was 2 economic downturns ago, I learned that whoever's better at managing money is
Yes.
going to come out ahead.
Correct.
You know, I mean, there's an old joke about, you know, when a man with money meets a man with experience, the man with the money leaves with the experience, and the man with the experience leaves with the money.
Exactly.
You know, if you're better at managing your money than your clients are, then they will pay their bills. And if you're not, then they won't pay their bills.
Correct. And to me, one of the big things that changed our process, and I'm encouraging people to now, and as horrible as it is again, is you've got to be comfortable with credit hold out there, because you are not a bank. You're an awesome IT company, and you've got to be an awesome IT company. And to do that, you need cash. You can't be a bank. And so one of the things that we had was we were very tight on our credit hold. Once I learned those expensive lessons, we were very, very, very tight on our credit hold, and credit hold went in place. I think it was 35 or 41 days after an invoice was due, like an invoice due date. So 3 weeks or 4 weeks it was thereabouts. And it was 30 days, I think it was. There was something thereabouts, but our system that we used, our PSA, allowed us to do that completely automatically and consistently. And so for the first couple of months when we rolled out that automatic credit hold thing, we had some of our most loved clients go on credit hold. And I'm watching it going, oh crap, like that feels so bad to me. But they learned the lesson, and unfortunately they had to learn the lesson the hard way. And from then on, they were perfect payers after that. We ended up being the squeakiest wheel that had some rules in place. And when I instituted those rules, I didn't just put them in without any explanation. I put them in and explained to my guys why we put them in, and explained to the clients and said, look, we nearly just went out of business because one of our most loved clients, that was this charity that had been around since the 1950s with a prudent board and everything, went into administration, and we lost nearly $40,000 from it, and nearly sent us out of business. And so we realized we're crappy bankers and we're awesome IT people. And so we just want to focus on being awesome IT people, which means we're going to be tight on our credit to make sure that we're here to support you tomorrow. And when we had that conversation, the why conversation with clients, they understood it much, much, much better. And over a space of a 6 to 12 month period, we changed our whole numbers in terms of our metrics with accounts receivable, right to the point where we never had a cash flow problem again after that. And well, our risk was really, really low.
In the US 10 years ago, 12 years ago, this all started with the banks, you know, failing. So
exactly.
That did not happen this time. So now everything is going, you know, our government is putting the money through the banks to the businesses. And so I think credit isn't loose by any stretch of the imagination, but it's at least possible today where it was nearly impossible a dozen years ago. And so I think it's much easier to say, look, you don't have to be the bank. There is a bank wanting to be the bank.
Exactly.
And, you know, some of the distributors will help you get loans. And there's even entire companies who exist now to help serve MSPs. And they will help your clients figure out how to make payments. And, you know, you just don't have to play that role. Another tough topic that you touched on is, you know, letting some of your employees go, downsizing. To me, that was one of the single hardest things I ever had to learn to do.
Yeah, same.
And nobody wants to do it. You know, these are your friends, and you know, sometimes we keep people on, like you said, longer than they should. But when the money's not flowing, you don't have any choice. You know. You know, one of the pieces of bad advice I've heard is that you should lower your rates to help your clients. But if you think about it for a minute, you can't lower your rates low enough to save one of your clients. The only thing that will save a client in trouble is they have to cut employees.
Correct. Or rent.
And the same is true for you, right? So, you know, if you're beginning to feel the squeeze, you need to start thinking about this, whether you want to or not.
Yeah. And what I've seen across a couple of clients that have had to do that, they've had to get rid of 1 or 2 people that just haven't been team players anyway. They've gotten rid of them, and the extra morale for the rest of the team has jumped through the roof, and they've picked up the extra slack in there, and they've just gone, hey, we knew that guy wanted to go. None of us wanted him around here anyway. It was a dead weight in here. We're all going to pick up the slack now because you've made that thing. And so I'm seeing that as a big shift. People are going, good decision. It means that our job's much safer now. We're willing to dive in and do a little bit of extra work to make sure the company can survive through this thing.
Well, it also helps that you do it the right way. right?
Yes.
Because every change to the employees is a change to your culture. So
Yeah.
you want to do it right. You want to treat them with respect, and because
100%.
everybody who stays is going to want to know, oh, that's the way he takes care of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and character is being shown through this thing like crazy.
yeah. So you have to be careful how you do that. All right, let me switch gears. So we only have about 5 minutes left. Tell me, what is the Tech Tribe, and is this book related to the tribe, or is it just for fun and you publish it through the tribe because, what the hell, you own the company, you can do whatever you want?
Exactly. All of the above. The Tech Tribe is essentially a space where I teach and coach and mentor a bunch of MSPs around the world. We've got about 700 odd MSPs in there now and about 1,000 users with their teams in there. And it's got a community component. It's got a resource component where we've filled it up with all different types of templates to be able to use, like managed service agreement templates and whatnot, proposal templates, as well as training in there on different parts of the business. And so the book, essentially, as you just asked, was that a part of it? The book was just me going to get something out for my tribe, and I was going to send it out to the tribe. And then I went, hang on, the entire industry needs this. We're in a spot right now where I'm doing whatever we can to look after our tribe, and we're doing lots of work with them as a group of people. But I thought the industry just needs help right now, and we're in a very comfortable spot in our business. So I need to go out and just throw this stuff out there for free. It's the whole thing about buying goodwill at the moment, and which is a strategy that any MSP should be doing, is going out and giving as much goodwill and help as you possibly can in your marketplace right now, knowing that some of that will hopefully turn into some dollars down the track for you. Even if it doesn't, it's still goodwill that you're getting out there into the marketplace. And so that book was just that. I just went, well, I could charge for it. I could ask people for their email address for it, for an opt-in or whatever. And I thought, stuff all of that. Let's just get it into as many hands as we possibly can. Certain number of people will want to find out more about what we are, and they'll know where to find us when they want to. And so this thing there's no marketing tactics or anything behind it. Even if you go to the opt-in page to download it, we've got a link there that says you can download it before you opt into our newsletter without having to do it. Because if you choose you want to opt into our newsletter, feel free, but I'm not even asking for that in this one. It's just get it out there.
The website is thetechtribe.com.
Correct, yeah. And you can download the guide from thetechtribe.com/guide, or the book. It's called Survive and Thrive. And as I said, you don't even have to opt into our email list so that we spam you in there. You can download it straight on that page. There's a link straight on that page that you can grab it from. And then
All right. Well, and I want to clarify for people that despite your Southern accent, people don't have to be from Australia in order to join the tribe. You have folks not only from North America, but from Europe as well.
Yeah, we're about 40% North America, 30% Europe, and Australia is only 22%, I think, in there. Even though I'm from down here, it's less. Maybe my guys out here hate me because I've got the same accent as them.
So where's the rest from? New Zealand and the Philippines and
yeah.
Oh,
we
okay.
got people from everywhere. We got Singapore. We had 2 from France join this week. We've had everywhere, but the biggest is North America for us. So North America is about 40% US and Canada.
Very cool. So folks can find out about the Tech Tribe at thetechtribe.com. And obviously you've got some free giveaways there, not the least of which is the Survive and Thrive book. So, and it's the thetechtribe.com/guide. Anything else you want to throw out there before we finish up?
No, just as always, a thank you to you, Karl, because half of the stuff in that guide I probably learned from you over the years. Just regurgitated.
This is the pay it forward moment. So
there you go. Yeah. So
very cool.
That's it. I just want to encourage everybody out there that's listening to this is that now is the time to dive in, do the work, be uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable you are now, the greater it's going to turn into good stuff for you later on down the track. And know that there is silver linings in here for MSPs. I feel MSPs are some of the most protected business models in the world right now. And don't get caught up in the media beatdowns that are happening out there. Just get out there and just help as many people as you possibly can. Throw the goodwill out there as much as you possibly can. Be back to that core value that we all have of service, and it will come back to you tenfold.
I agree completely. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you again.
Thank you for tuning in to the SMB Community Podcast. If you found this useful, interesting, or fun, please subscribe, share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up on your favorite social media. Please check out the show notes at smbcommunitypodcast.com and give us your feedback.